Hey guys, thank you so much for being here for Quantico live chat number 2. I see Mark is in the room and Jonathan is here. And if you're here, just let me know so I can see how many of you are here and are tuning in, because I know Quantico is kind of a show that's gaining popularity. It's not as popular as some of the other shows that I cover. So, I'm used to the live chats being super, super busy, but I know there may not be tons of you in the room. But if you are watching, you don't have to talk, but you could just let me know that you're here so I know that there's more than 3 people in the room, hopefully, or maybe some people will join. But first of all, I just wanted to say that I thought that compared to last week, which was our season opener for the second half of season 1, I thought that this episode was better. And the reason that I thought it was really good, or a lot better than the first episode, was the fact that the ending was super intense. And Alex, the girl who plays Alex, why can I not think of her name? She was really good. Like, I thought her the performance, I will get the words together, that she delivered at the end was just great, like phenomenal. So there are actually quite a few people here. So hey, Leah, Jennifer, Madison, thank you guys so much for being here. So you can go ahead and let me know in the comments what you guys thought about this week's episode compared to last week and compared to some of the other episodes in the first half of season 1. Diana's here. Thank you so much for being here. But I thought that just the last few minutes that we had of last night's episode was just like one of those things where you're on the edge of your seat, and she just did such a wonderful job. Alex did. I mean, the woman who plays Alex, I just thought that was great. Is her name Priya? I think that's what it is in real life. So there was one thing that kind of bugged me, and then that happened like at the start of this episode, and that's when they were saying that this person who is the terrorist, which you have to keep in mind, it's probably pretty likely there's just more than one person, because the kind of stuff that they're doing is on a very large scale, and I find it hard to believe that they're working alone. Priyanka, hopefully I'm saying that right. Yeah. Priyanka Chopra. Yeah. If you've ever like Googled her, I looked her up on Wikipedia, and she's like a major, major, major star in India, and like her entire family are entertainers and like actors, and she's very well known there before coming here to do Quantico. So I really like her. Some people commented on my videos that she was annoying, but I don't know. What do you guys who are watching think? I like her. I think she's good, and of course she's super pretty. But anyway, I don't think that this person's acting alone. But we at first just need to figure out at least one person who is doing this, who is behind this. And I had always thought it was going to be from that class of recruits that Alex is in. But then last night they said now it can be absolutely anybody. So, and I know some of us have suspected Liam or Miranda, but now I'm thinking it could be any of these people. And like, I don't really even know the names of the new class yet. And there was one girl in particular that played a larger role in this episode, so I kind of need to learn their names. So what do you guys think about that? Because I think it's hard if it's going to possibly be one of the people in the new class, because I was always hoping it would be the people that we've been introduced to from the beginning. And if it happened to be Liam or Miranda or something, I would have been okay with that. So Mark says predicted that Natalie would get the bomb off of her, but end up dying at the end. You did say that. I know. I was thinking that when it happened. So Mark predicted that, she would be saved from the bomb, but would die at the end. And that's awesome. Congrats to you, because it feels really good when we can get something right. And by we, I mean you. But when any of us can actually predict something on one of these shows, like, that's crazy to me. That's something to be proud of. Diana, I'm really sorry that you have the flu. Watch as much as you can. If you don't feel like it, I understand if you have to leave. But you can always watch this later. This will be up on my channel after it ends. Like 5 minutes after we're done here, the entire show will be up. So you can always check it out later if you have to leave. I understand. But yeah, I mean, part of me was wondering, I wanted to ask you guys this. I guess we're for sure that she died, right? I mean, is there any kind of chance that they make us assume that she died, but then later on we find out she's working with the terrorists? Because I know she was kind of a suspect for some of you guys. And the best way to make us think that someone is not a suspect is to make us think that they are dead. Now, if it ends up that they find her body and everything in next week's episode, that idea is out. But that's just something I was thinking as I was watching it. What do you guys think about that? So, but if she's out as a suspect, I feel like Ryan is a very strong suspect. And again, someone was watching Ryan and Alex interact, but I think there's someone else helping. So that kind of answers that question. Like, if he's in on it, well, who is sending Alex that text? Who's watching? And I mean, I guess they're following her, so that's how they knew she was going to be there with him. But that was pretty creepy too. And now she's just kind of in this really bad situation where she's going to have to do absolutely everything this terrorist asks her to do, or one of her friends is going to be killed. Which, if you guys watch Scream, to me, that is pretty much exactly how that show works, because they make people feel really bad and like somebody's going to die if they don't do this or that. Actually, the movie Unfriended, which was on HBO, is exactly like that too. It's like, if you don't do this or that, we're going to kill this person. But in the end, like, everyone's going to die because they're just playing games with you. So Mark definitely thinks that she died. We actually saw her body in the fire when the explosion went off. Okay, so hopefully it wasn't like a fake decoy body or some dead body that they'd already had. Probably not. So most likely she is dead. She would have been a good person to possibly be behind the terrorist activity because, you know, she was somebody who we really wouldn't have suspected. What do you guys think about Hannah? Hannah is Ryan's ex-wife. She had a very prominent role in this episode, and she has a pretty prominent job in the FBI. I don't know if she could possibly be a suspect, but I'm just kind of looking at our not so obvious people and trying to figure out who could possibly be working as a terrorist. Also, I wanted to clear something up. I don't know if I missed this or if they didn't show it or if this even didn't happen, but they were kind of implying that Liam and Alex hooked up sometime in the first half of the season. Did that happen? I mean, I know that she like took him home because he'd had too much to drink and everything. Did I completely forget about that? Maybe I have, because the show was on back around Christmas. Or is that something that they implied and didn't show? Or is this the first time we're hearing this? I don't know. Because I had thought, you know, he might have kind of had a crush on her, but I didn't think anything happened between them. But can you guys help me with that? Also, something that I was really confused about watching last week's episode is, for some reason, I thought that when Shelby was meeting with the husband of the fake sister, that was happening in present time. And it turns out I was completely wrong. That was happening in the flashback scenes. And we do have that confirmed, that these people are con artists, which I don't think that's a shock to anyone. But then it seems kind of like she still wants to help the fake sister. So I don't know what is up with that. That's just... She's always shady, Shelby is, but maybe it's too shady. I mean, she's just one of those characters who just seems super shady to me, like every week, and I just feel like maybe it's overkill and they want us to focus on someone like her so that we're actually missing who could be the people behind this. And again, they've never implied that there's more than one person, and I definitely think that there would have to be. So Leah doesn't remember them hooking up either. Just know that Liam said he was in love with Alex earlier in the New York timeline. So when you say New York timeline, you mean present day. So somehow I have missed that he said he was in love with her. Where was I? I don't know. Was that in last week's episode? Because I somehow did not hear that. I think that was definitely implied in the first half of the season. So I felt that he was definitely having feelings toward her. But as far as being in love with her, I did not realize that. I feel really bad that he said that and I didn't hear it. So there is some debate about Natalie's body. Some of you saw it, some of you didn't. Actually, when that scene was going on, my DVR didn't record this show last night, so I watched it just once. Usually I watch it twice. But because of that, I was kind of taking notes for my video that's up tomorrow, and I wasn't, actually looking to see if there was a body there when I saw that scene, but I have it on my iPad so I can go back and look. So I don't know. So Mark says he thought it was suspicious that Ryan said he needed to call someone. Then outside, Alex got a call from the terrorist. He is your number one suspect. I think he's working with someone else. I agree with you. Because usually it's the person you trust the most who is the person you shouldn't be trusting at all. And I think it says a lot that they showed her going to him. She feels like he's the only person at this point she can trust. And she went to him for help. And then more crazy things started happening, and I think he's probably been backstabbing her the whole time. I just feel like he is a very strong suspect because we have no reason to suspect him. I really don't think that they will make someone who looks ethnic or who is ethnic a bad guy in this show just because some people are going to gravitate towards those people and be like, those have to be the suspects. They throw a lot of shade on the twins, and they especially did that in last night's episode because one of them's been meeting up with this guy, and I don't know what's up with that, but I still think a lot of that stuff is red herrings. And for him to be like a, all-American white guy, to be completely honest, it feels like someone who would be right for the job, because a lot of people in today's society would not look at him. And that's just kind of why I'm going with that. Vanessa thinks, though, that Ryan is too obvious. So to me, he's just not, because why do we suspect him? I guess if you want to tell us, Vanessa, like, what are your reasons for, or how do you think the show has made him look like a suspicious person? Just because when I look at it, he doesn't look suspicious at all, but everyone sees things differently. So Diana has to go. I hope you feel better, and thanks for being here for just a few minutes. So get better soon. Mark says it wouldn't make sense for anyone else to be the terrorist. None of the other characters are close to Alex, but Ryan is. Yes, and as you know, he was put in that position to be close to her by the FBI, which I think that's fine. I don't think the entire FBI is corrupt, but it is a little funny too that, like you said, I mean, the only other person she was kind of getting close to or could talk to about this was Natalie, and that really didn't last long at all. And, he's also somebody who has connections to a lot of the different women. And it might not be because, we think, oh, yeah, he's kind of like a womanizer. Well, maybe he's just trying to get in with these different people to get information for them or from them, or who knows what his game plan is. I mean, I don't know. At this point, who else do you think is someone who could be working with him, or someone, if it's not him, who it could be? Could it be Charlie? That's really far-fetched, but could Charlie have made the story up about being kidnapped? Could he actually be working with the terrorists rather than being kidnapped by the terrorists? I have no idea. That may not make any sense at all, but that's just a thought, and that would progress that storyline. Hi, Gokai. Thank you so much for being here. So yeah, I'm just kind of curious, because right now for me, like, no one really sticks out as a major suspect except for Ryan, and he doesn't stick out at all. So Vanessa thinks that Simon may be involved, and there's definitely been times that I thought Simon could be, and he's just, to me, he's over the top shady. They make him look pretty shady along with a few other people. He's just almost, to me, he's almost too obvious, because he's, he's very good with computers and hacking, and he's just like a super genius. So I don't know where they're going to go, how they're going to go with that. They may end up picking someone who they've made look really suspicious, though. You just never know, because we don't have a lot to go on with this show, because we've never seen them do a reveal before. And I think when we watch other shows like Pretty Little Liars and How to Get Away with Murder, and we kind of understand how they work once they make their first big reveal. And then we can figure out if they're going to, if they make people look shady, are they going to actually have those people be bad people, or do they try to do that to throw us off? So Mark is asking a really good question. What do I think the terrorist motive is? I hope there's a reason they're targeting Alex and not just because they're crazy. Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I don't know. I watched another movie, or no, this is not a movie, I know, but I watched a movie one time with like Liam Neeson? I don't know. It was really good. But the person who had become a terrorist in that movie, who looked American, was upset because they had lost a family member in 9/11. So that was kind of a twist of a motive. And they were just kind of out to get whoever because they were mad at the government or something. It's a very twisted, line of thinking. But I don't know if that could be somebody's motive. It may be one of those things, Mark, that we really don't have all the pieces to put together to find out their motive. Like, they could have some crazy connection to Alex from the past, and we don't even know that yet. We may get more information. So Gokai has just started watching. That's fine. Thank you so much for being here. That's really nice that you're here. Yes, Mark, it's the Liam Neeson movies on the plane, and there were 2 terrorists. It was really good. I probably spoiled it for somebody, but it's so good. Hi, Kay. Thank you so much for being here. Jonathan says that he thinks the meeting that the twin had in the house was about Miranda's son. So when I saw that, though, I thought we were back in the past. I get really confused sometimes with this show as they are flipping back and forth, because they never really say, I mean, obviously, if they're in their like collared shirts and their khaki pants, they're in training and that's in the past. But sometimes when they're out in the public, I don't know, like, are we back in the past or are we in current day? So I think that's a little bit confusing. Vanessa, yes, that movie is called Unknown, I think. And they're like flying to London, maybe. from New York or something. I think that's what's going on. It was really good. And Liam Neeson's like an air marshal. It's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, hopefully I haven't destroyed it for you, but you should check it out. I really liked it. Let's see, what else should we talk about? So we've talked about the fake sister. I don't know. What other points do we need to talk about from last night's episode? They did not address the Charlie situation at all, but, oh, it's called Nonstop. That's it. Nonstop. Yeah, it was like, I think it has something to do with the plane, so that makes more sense. Is Quantico on Netflix? Does anybody know, or can anyone answer that? Also, I should say that in different countries, Netflix gets things at different times. I know like in the UK and Canada, they have shows that we don't even have yet on Netflix here. So I don't know. Gokai, are you in Canada? So if somebody else in Canada could let Gokai know. Leah's asked me what I think of the Quantico timeline with this episode. I think it's confusing, and it was very confusing to me last week because I actually screwed up some of the details because I thought the husband of the fake sister was in present day and he was in the past, and it gets confusing. But I guess I should have known that Shelby's hair is more like a bob cut in the present day, and in the past she has very long hair. So we have to look out for little clues like that. So Kay finished watching the show a minute ago. I agree with you. Shelby is so naive for sending all that money, but at the same time, should we be looking at that and thinking, or is she really just kind of working with these people? Because like, how naive can you be when you know for a fact that these people are con artists and that's not your real sister or your half sister or anything? Like, it just seems strange to me that she still wants to support these people. And like, I don't know also if they're just throwing all of that at us because they want her to look really suspicious so that we don't look at other people. So Madison says, what about Alex's father? Wasn't he in the FBI? Yes, and there was something really weird about him. Maybe he did something while alive to anger someone, so now they're targeting Alex. Okay, that's a really good theory, Madison. We know that he worked with Liam, and I guess what happened was that he killed himself because of some stuff that had gone on. Is that what happened? He was like beating her mom. I can't really remember because that was in the first half of the season, but it was definitely some messed up stuff. And I feel like she found out some of it, but maybe she didn't find out all of the truth. I agree with you, Gokai. We need more people. This is like one of the shows, or, you know, the one show basically that I do that really hasn't picked up on popularity. I mean, maybe it's popular to everyone else, but they don't know about coming here. So if you have any friends who watch the show, let them know. If you are watching this live or taped and you have not subscribed to my channel and you love this show, I'll be covering it for the rest of the season. So I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe. Appreciate it. Thank you. That's what happened. Thank you so much, Kay. So Alex killed her dad because it was defense because he was beating her mom. Thank you. Thank you so much. Maybe she's hiding money somewhere and using those people as a cover-up or working with them. Yeah, I really, you know, have to question Shelby because she's not stupid. I mean, you have to be very smart to be in the FBI. I don't know why she continues to be involved with these people. It's really kind of annoying after a while. I think you're right about that as well, that her mother took the blame. How have I forgotten all of this? Just terrible. So Mark says a writer on the show did an interview today and mentioned terrorist, plural, instead of just one terrorist. He could be talking about Elias, but he's already dead, and maybe he just spoiled something. True. And Elias really, to me, wasn't a terrorist. He was someone that was being made to do all these things, being, you know, blackmailed, basically. He didn't have a choice. It wasn't like he wanted to carry out these plans or had the motivation, right? If I'm wrong, let me know. But I think he was being made to do all of this crazy stuff. So that's interesting. I really feel like there just has to be more than one person. And in most shows there is, but the crimes going on here are on the largest scale ever. Like, it's a lot larger than even like the Pretty Little Liars stuff or the Scream stuff. I mean, we're talking about crazy, you know, blowing up buildings and stuff like that. You cannot be doing that as just one person. So I think really it's pretty obvious. And maybe this writer thinks that we, you know, should assume that it's obvious that it's not just one person. Vanessa thinks Liam seems to be involved in another case that was featured in this episode. You know, and I don't know about him being involved in bad things like a terrorist. I don't know yet. I don't know. I feel like we don't know enough about him. I guess that's always a possibility. I'm not sure. So Kay wishes they would stick to the terrorist storyline. I don't care for Shelby and her money or Natalie's custody battle. I agree with you. I think one of the struggles that this show has is that they don't have enough material with the terrorist angle to fill an entire episode. Now, I feel like they did at the beginning just because we were learning. I think it was more, I guess, interesting at the beginning because we were learning the backstory of all the recruits and we needed to see those training scenes. But I think you said it really well, Kay, because when the training scenes come on, the stuff with Natalie in the custody, even when the scenes with Charlie that we didn't have this week, but last week, and the fact someone kidnapped him, I mentally tune out of those things because I really only care about who is our terrorist and, you know, kind of like the present day stuff. I guess some of the flashbacks are to give us clues about who the terrorist could be, but I feel like they've spent so much time on that and given us so many clues. Like if we don't have enough now, something's wrong. So I'm really also agreeing with Lee here. Don't like the new characters. I don't like that at all. I think that is a big downfall. And I was hoping that we would only waste like one episode on that for this half of the season, but we're back on it again this week, and it seems like that's going to be a reoccurring theme, and possibly some of these people could be the terrorists, which is annoying to me because from the beginning they didn't let us know. Like I feel like we just had a small pool of people who could be the terrorists because that's the only people we knew, and now we have all these new people, and I just don't, at this point, don't care about those characters because we just met them. So I don't know. I do have a little bit of concern about the show because of these things. And then I wonder, you know, if they do, as they say, if they reveal one terrorist at the end of season 1, what happens then? Are we just going to go on to season 2 and they'll be like, hey, there's 2 terrorists and we'll spend season 2 trying to figure out who the second terrorist is? Like, what can we do to keep this show going past 1 year? And maybe they have a great plan that I just haven't thought of. So Kay hopes they don't drag it out. Don't care for the new actors as well. Yes. Vanessa says they should have fewer scenes in the past and more in the present because some of the information isn't necessary to the show. I agree with you, and it seems that way, but maybe some of these flashback scenes, like for me, the whole skit that they did, it was like where they were trying to figure out what to do, like if they could screw up an agent and then the people ended up being agents that they were talking to. You guys know what I'm talking to. It was like an exercise that they did in this episode. I was just like, what are we doing? You know, when they were in the restaurant, I was just like, you know, this is boring. And I don't know why this is in here. But the only thing I can think of is they have to make the episode 45 minutes or whatever, and they have to put some filler stuff in. That's what it feels like to me. So Mark says this episode should have been the premiere because they killed off a regular character. I agree. Premiere of the second half of season 1. They've already lost more than 1 million viewers after the terrible finale. This show desperately needs twists. Yes. So if you guys were upset with the, you know, first half finale, a lot of other people were too, and they really needed to come back super strong last week with their opening episode, with their premiere, and they really didn't at all. The ending was okay, but then they showed her right away in the previews without the bomb, and we knew she wasn't dead. Of course, we did have the surprise that she died at the end, but to be honest, I don't think Natalie is that important to any of us that we are sad that she's gone. I don't know, maybe you are, but I feel like she's a very small character, minor character, and her death, you know, I don't know if anyone really cares. However, I think Alex did a really good job with that scene, and that was a shining moment for her. But Mark says he wouldn't still watch it if I'm not covering it. Okay, so, and you really hated the finale that much. Well, kind of where I'm at with this show is that I'm going to, you know, watch this first season. Obviously, this is nothing like a PLL for me. It's not that bad or anything. I think it's good. You know, I don't think it's ridiculous or anything like that. And they don't lie or, you know, I mean, hopefully they won't reveal someone crazy as the terrorist at the end of this season. But I'm just kind of doing a wait and see with this first season. And if all the episodes are kind of boring and if the reveal is bad for this show, I'll have to make a decision about keeping, you know, to keep watching it. That's something that I did with Fear the Walking Dead. I watched him, you know, I'm going to do the whole season because I commit to that. I watched the whole first season. It really wasn't that good in my opinion, and I'm not going to go back to it. So sometimes you don't know because these are new shows. You don't know. They might start off great and get worse. They may start off slow and get great. So, you know, we'll do with this for this season and we'll see what happens after that. So yeah, I mean, Gokai, I don't think that this is like How to Get Away with Murder, because I guess maybe every now and then there'll be a little bit of a slow part in an episode of How to Get Away with Murder, but nothing like what they're kind of giving us here. And again, it's not like this show's terrible or it's super slow or anything, but it's not what it was to me at the beginning. I really loved it for the first several episodes. I was very hooked in. But I think it's going to be hard for us to wait many more episodes to find out who this terrorist is, because I don't know how they're going to keep dragging it out. At this point, I kind of feel like we need to know and be like, hey, this one person is the terrorist. And then they can say something like, but there are other people, and we can wait to find out who those are. I don't know. I'm worried about this show. I don't really know where it's going. My top suspect, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, and it probably doesn't mean anything to you, Gokai, because you haven't really watched it, but right now I'm thinking it could be Ryan. Corey, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I do live chats for Quantico. I'll do those probably the rest of the season. We'll see what happens. Yes, and I'm excited for Scream Queens 2 as well. And if you didn't know, there's a lot of information on their Twitter and online about season 2. They were at Paley Fest over the weekend, and they tweeted out a lot of stuff that was really interesting. There are some changes in the cast. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this live chat talking about that show, but definitely Google it or go to their Twitter if you hadn't heard yet, because there's a lot of good information there. So Kay thinks they need more suspense and less drama in their personal lives. I completely agree. There's just not enough to me, I really feel like it's at the point where, and yes, they killed someone off, so I think that's good, but either they need to kill someone major off in the next couple episodes, or they need to come out and say that somebody is a terrorist, which I don't feel like they're going to do that. So I don't know. They need to really ramp it up the next few episodes to keep people around. So we have just a couple minutes left. I'm just going to try to keep these Quantico live chats at 30 minutes just because there's not a ton of stuff to talk about, and I think we've covered the main points. But if there's something that you want to chat about from last night's episode or this season in general, go ahead and let me know if we haven't discussed it already, and we'll take the last couple of minutes to do that. Gokai's asking me who my favorite character is. I really do like Alex a lot. She's definitely probably my favorite. She's definitely my favorite. I like her a lot. I think that it's great that she is in that role, because if they had a weaker person in that role, I might have trouble watching if it was someone I didn't like, to be honest. So Mark says they need to bring characters like Caleb and Shelby into the present time and into the mystery. I just go into a different tab on my laptop when their scenes come on. Right, I agree. And I feel like they kind of were doing that near the end of the first half of season 1, especially because she was having this affair with his father, and there was a lot of that stuff. Well, now he's dead, and that whole storyline's dead, and they're always in the past, always. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think they kind of tried to copy, not really copy, but get inspiration from How to Get Away with Murder as far as flashing back, flashing present day, flashing back, flashing present day, and then they flash forward a lot. But I don't think it is working for them. Of course, these are not the same writers or producers as How to Get Away with Murder, but I feel like they really tried to, you know, get inspired by that show and, you know, kind of be like that show in that way. And I just don't think it's working. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, Kay. I am leaving this week, but not until Thursday. So there will be a Pretty Little Liars chat and video. Actually, both of those are going to go up on the same day, which is Wednesday. So no worries about that. But because of that, there will not be a How to Get Away with Murder finale chat, and the video will have to be when I get back. So I'm thinking like Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, and I really apologize. Also, there will not be a live chat for this show next Monday because I'm getting back late. So I will do a video. So it'll just be a couple days later, and I'm sorry, but I will do my recap video for this show and for How to Get Away with Murder. So Gokai says, are you going to have your chat for PLL season finale? No. I'm going to have the chat normal time. So Wednesday at 5 p.m. this Wednesday for Pretty Little Liars, because I'm not leaving until Thursday. So don't worry about that. And I'm also going to get that video up before I leave. So that will be on time. So basically all this affects is sadly the finale of How to Get Away with Murder and then our next episode of Quantico, but I will be posting both of those videos. I just won't have the chat. I'm going to try to watch the How to Get Away with Murder finale live just because I can't wait. And I'm worried that people will spoil it for me. Not you guys, but just, you know, the internet will spoil it for me if I look at the internet. So hopefully that makes sense. But I will be tweeting out all the information about what's going to happen and what's not going to happen over the next couple of days. So Jim, thank you so much for being here. We're kind of wrapping up, but just remember, as soon as this is over, like 5 minutes later, you can go back and watch the entire thing on my channel. So it's okay that you're a little bit late, but thank you so much for being here. So Go Kai, again, Pretty Little Liars is on schedule. Wednesday, I will have the live chat at 5 p.m. And I'll also put up my video later that night as the recap video, just because I want to go ahead and get that out for you guys. Mark says there were Reddit spoilers for the PLL finale. Apparently I'm not going to read them just because some people hate those, and I don't know if some Pretty Little Liars people are watching this. I'm reading them myself. That sounds terrible. I'm not surprised. That sounds awful. I've read them out loud before and people get angry because they're watching the tape version and they didn't want to hear any type of possible spoiler. Thank you, Gokai. I'm going to hate the fact that I can't do a live chat with you guys. That kills me. But I think it's going to be epic, the How to Get Away with Murder finale. So if you guys want to do a live chat when I get back, like Tuesday, for How to Get Away with Murder, I don't think we're going to need to do a Quantico live chat later because, you know, there's not a whole lot going on. Then we can definitely try to work that out. But if you are on Twitter, you definitely want to follow me on Twitter because you will be updated on all of this. That way you won't be in the dark or you won't forget any of the stuff I've mentioned here. I'll talk quickly about Pretty Little Liars. A lot of people have been tweeting me, messaging me, writing on my videos that basically Marlene is saying that Ian is not, either has a twin or he's not dead or something. And all I can say about that is that if she wants to go that route and make him, a really important part of this week's episode, why would you be tweeting that stuff out? Like, I haven't thought about Ian in so long. So if you want to make him the focus, why wouldn't you want to surprise us? So maybe I'm hoping she's just tricking people or people are reading too much into it. But if her whole purpose is to give away the fact that he's going to be alive or a twin or something, I don't understand why you would do that. Don't you want to surprise your viewers? Like, I have no idea, but I know she's been misspelling things and people think it's on purpose and people think for sure that Ian's involved, but maybe she just wants to mess with everyone. But she did, and exactly, but the reason people are saying that is because she did put CC in the tags for the finale last time. So aggravating to me. I just think that's so silly. I don't know. So I don't know. We will find out tomorrow and we'll go from there with Pretty Little Liars because you just never know with that show. But that's just my thoughts on that whole situation, that if she's, wants us to be surprised, why is she letting us know like big information like that? It's just really weird. So I think we pretty much talked about all we can for this week's episode of Quantico because really so far there's not been a whole lot to talk about, and I'm hoping that will change and it'll be something where we can guess about who the terrorists or terrorists are, and we have more in-depth conversation about different suspects depending on what they decide to do with the next few episodes. So my recap video with more in-depth discussion from me will be up tomorrow morning. So again, please subscribe if you haven't so that you won't miss that, and follow me on Twitter so that you'll know what is going on this week since I leave later in the week. And again, as far as Pretty Little Liars, everything is normal for this week. So thank you guys so much for being here. I love you guys so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.